Okay. I'm thinking, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it would be a good idea to, oh, I know, yeah. Well, I'm just doing a sketch, so maybe I'll just, oh, yeah, just cut it with the scissors. Yeah, I think that's gonna be good. I think that's coming along quite nicely. No, though. Oh, I wish I could just take what's in my head and just put it down on paper and I just, oh, wow. Yes. Hi, it's Chloe from Queen of Arts, and this is How to Kato Polyclay. I always get really anxious when it comes to making anything. So, you know, I have this thing in my head I want to make. I have the actual finished product in my head. I just don't know how to do it. So I go through an entire process of just getting it done, just making not even sketching it out. I go from idea to, as you saw before, and just, you know, just trying to do a test and just using scissors and seeing what I could come up with, and then I start. The preliminary sketch was that wax paper is your friend. Wax paper it's a really great idea to use wax paper, and I'll show you how, to when you're making any sort of duplicating any sort of items, and in this case it was stripes. Pride month came along and I thought I wanted to contribute, especially to some friends of mine who had passed on from AIDS, and I thought it would be a really great idea to come up with a very simple rainbow veneer and use it for an item which you will see at the very end. While counting the colors in the rainbow flag, as you can see, there's 6 here. So what I did was I cut an extra sheet of wax paper to lay it across the bottom, and I will probably use another sheet on top. I rolled and conditioned all of my stripes out, and I just took each strip of color. So laying out each color on a wax paper sheet. So there's the blue, and I'm going to cover it up with another sheet of wax paper. Now I could have made my wax paper sheets a little bit smaller because these are skinny canes, but I always like to make sure that I have more than I need because I can just cut it away with scissors. So I'm going to put the purple on now. And you can see that some of the purple actually stuck to the tile, which is, that's my fault. I should have laid them all out on something that was non-stick, like maybe some white laser paper. But you know what, I thought I'd be a little bit more patient than I was doing the first sketch that I did, where I made a small flag. But this is my idea of being very patient, which I'm not. So I'm laying down the red next. And in the studio, the temperature in the studio was quite warm. It was about between 75 and 80 degrees, probably closer to 80 degrees. We don't have AC or central air, so which is great because, as you know, the warmth being a friend to Kato Polyclay, it was an ideal situation, except, and you'll see it very shortly, I'm going to just cover up this orange, except when it came to the green stripe. See, there. So I thought, okay, I'll use a yellow instead. The one mistake I did, that I made, was first of all, with the green was too thin. I rolled it out too thin. I didn't make it as thick as the rest. And again, you got to be patient. Now, once everything was all assembled, and it didn't matter what the actual layer order was, because as you can see, I have cut away the excess wax paper, and I'm actually using a metal ruler. Again, my idea of being patient, to measure the thickness of, and having a hard edge of these stripes. And I'm laughing because I remember doing this and thinking, I just want to get this done, and just screaming in my head, just let me get it done. See, there's the issue with the green again. So what I ended up doing was having to cut twice through all of the sheets. And I just thought, yeah, well, whatever happens is going to happen, and if it tears in half or something, I'll basically fix it. I'll slap on another piece of clay and just roll it out, which you probably see shortly. And in between cutting through, I would rearrange the layers, making sure that they were as close to even as possible when it came to the edge, just so that it would be much easier to duplicate the thickness of the slices. And I made a ton of slices, which is great. I kept the wax paper on. Again, I don't know if you can see it, but the stripes are sandwiched between two sheets of wax paper, and I got this idea from my experience using foam core board, where you've got some foam. You get this at any of the art stores. You have foam in the middle, and then it's sandwiched on either side with some sort of Bristol board. And I'm accustomed using that process, using foam core with prototyping from in the past. So, and sometimes I just used that idea. I made a polymer clay board of polymer clay sandwiched between two sheets of wax paper, and just kept cutting until I used all of the layers. Great thing about using this system is that you have so many duplicates that if I decide to use these strips and create rainbow flags, I can make as many of the item. So here I am. I'm going to make a veneer out of these. So I am going to start laying out the actual strips of color in order of the rainbow flag, and you can see there I take off one side of the wax. And what's cool is, because I'm doing it this way, I'm not going to get any fingerprints on the outside. Now I may get a little bit of the ripple showing up, ripple from the wax paper showing up on the front side of the polyclay, but it's easy to just take off the other parts of the wax paper when I'm all finished laying everything out, and then just smoothing it out with my finger or rolling it out, which you'll see once I assemble all the... I think the hardest part with doing laying out strips is that you have to really, you don't have any spacers or anything, so you have to really be aware of how straight your lines are. And I think if I do this again, I will maybe not be so impatient and use some sort of spacer, or just be a little bit more attentive to making each strip equal all the way across. As you can see, some of the strips are wider at one end than they are in the other, and I haven't even rolled it out to roll it into the backing of the veneer yet. So, and as everybody knows, once you start rolling it out, what will happen is that things will widen. So the stripe width, not the width, the thickness. The thickness of the stripes will probably get a little bit wider, and which is a good, it could be a good thing. It could be good for any sort of larger item uses. And I'm saying items because some people might use this idea for, I don't know, beads, or maybe a coaster, or whatever item they decide that they're wanting to make, or whatever creation. Again, I will show you what I did, what I used this veneer for. At the end, no, don't skip to the end to find out. Just be patient. It's important that you see this process, or not. Okay, so I've lined everything up, and I've got this one strip of black backing there, and I'll cut that off. But before I do that, and I should have made sure that to take off all of the wax paper strips. Now, I don't know if that's a mistake or not, doing it this way rather than just cutting it off right now, because you'll see what happens when I try to do that with the purple. When I take the purple strip, the wax paper off the purple strip, and then I decide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that excess black, I kind of nick the purple stripe, and so even though getting the wax paper off was a little bit difficult, the good thing is that I didn't even out all of the strips until I took the wax paper off, because you'll see how I just sort of dug and put little nail prints in the end. It doesn't matter because I'm going to cut them off. Now, I thought that before I did that, I would try to just make sure and press the strips of color into the backing, just to make sure that when I did decide to trim off any ends, that they wouldn't move. I don't know if that was a good idea, and the one thing I didn't do was clean off my roller. That was bad. I should have cleaned off the roller with a bit of alcohol and wiped it down. But again, the most impatient creator of them all. So watch this. So here I go. I'm taking off digging off little bits of color that transferred from one color to the next. Not too badly though. I mean, it didn't get too dirty, I don't think. And here I am, I'm rolling it. I'm doing it this way. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. Did it anyhow. What I was hoping to do was correct any intervals between the colors. And once I did that, it was time to trim off the ends. So again, here I am, really not very patient. I should have used the X-Acto knife, but I decided to use a putty knife instead. And you can see, look at that, look. Crazy. I should have Shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. But you know what? It really did all turn out pretty good. Look at this, look. Why? Why did I decide to do that? And I thought it would be just a little bit more even, but I don't know. So now here's the mistake. This is why I should have used my X-Acto knife. Exactly why I should have, because I actually nicked a portion of the purple when all I wanted to do was take off the black, and look, bad. But you know, maybe whatever I use this for, the flag will be waving instead of just standing still. We'll see at the end. But it's an easy fix, right? Like you just roll it out and you get rid of all the little digs and all the little imperfections and whatnot, but I can still, you know, I can still see it. At this point, it's taking so long in my head, and it probably isn't taking as long as I think it is, but I'm trying so hard to be patient and to get rid of any imperfections. So here's what it turned out to be like, and I've smoothed it out, and really actually very happy with it.